ॐ श्रीगणेशाय नमः। ॐ नमो भगवते रमणाय। ॐ अरुणाचलेश्वराय नमः। Namaste friends. Today when Shani Jayanti is on, Shani Amavasya is on at the moment, I thought of discussing Ramana Maharshi, Sri Ramana Maharshi's chart, Kundali, in this session. I think many of you knows that Ramana Maharshi was a great sage of 20th century. One of the very huge divine light that blessed our great land. I should also say this, that he is my guru, spiritual guru. And I wanted to do this session. I wanted to actually assess his chart, because one reason was also that there is a confusion in his chart whether he is Tula Lagna or Kanya Lagna. Because the great late Dr. B.V. Raman, who is also celebrated as a modern Varahmir, he had in his notable horoscope book, he has mentioned Ramana Maharshi, he has discussed Ramana Maharshi's chart, and he has taken Tula Lagna for Ramana Maharshi. Now, as the popular time available, date and time available, if we take that date and time, then it comes to Kanya Lagna. Now, whether Tula Lagna is correct or Kanya Lagna is correct, that needs to be concluded. At least some points should be put forward. I guess why Dr. Raman came to Tula Lagna is because he was using his Ainansh, Raman Ainansh. I think he used to call Raman Ainansh. It's because he had arrived at this particular Ainansh. And Raman Ainansh is little off, quite off, not little, quite off from the traditional Chitra Paksh Ainansh, which is also called Lahiri Ainansh. And you know that in Ainansh, there are so many Ainansh prevailing. So I use Chitra Paksha or Jagannath Ainansh, which is very close to Chitra Paksha. But Raman used to use his Ainansh, and I think he casted all these charts in notable horoscopes using his Ainansh. So in his Ainansh, there is a chances that Lagna degrees go little forward by a couple of degrees approximately. And same way, even the longitude of grahas. So it looks like, because if you cast this chart 30th December 1879, 1 o'clock approximately is the recorded time in Trishuli, Tamil Nadu. So if you cast with this Chitra Pakshayana, you will get as approximately 26 degree of Virgo. I just did the fine tuning, keeping in Navmansh in my view, because I thought that Ramana Maharshi's Lagna was Vargottam. So Vargottam Navmansh. So there was a little bit of fine tuning in the timing. If you go, for example, to Ramana Ainansh, then also it comes to approximately 28 degree and 18 minutes. But probably at that time there was a manual calculation done by Dr. Raman. So maybe that, and that is why this error is there, and he might have got this Tula Lagna, starting degrees of Tula Lagna. So he has Tula Lagna Vargottam, while I have with this calculation with Chitra Paksha Ainaj, Kanya Lagna Vargottam. So let's see what makes sense. I will put my points as to why I think Kanya is a Lagna for Ramana Maharshi. So let us discuss this chart in this session. It is in front of you. If I take Kanya Lagna, then you have a Kanya Lagna. The Lagna Lord Mercury is in third in Vrishchik. Remember, Vrishchik is a mystic sign. It's the 8th bhava of Kalpurush, because Kalpurush Lagna starts from Mesh Lagna. So Vrishchik is the 8th bhava. So 8th bhava is also is a mystery, hidden bhava, all the hidden knowledge, spiritual sadhana, mysticism. All these things are portfolio of Vrishchik Rashi. So Lagna Lord is in Vrishchik Rashi in third bhava, along with Venus. But Venus is actually at the 0 degree of or first degree of Scorpio. So if you go by Bhavachalit, it goes to the second bhava. But that's fine. This is just a point I wanted to mention. And then you have Rahu and Sun in fourth, Ketu and Moon in 10th, Shani is in 7th bhava, Mars is in 8th bhava, own Rashi, Mesh Rashi. So this is this chart. Now, if you see, what is the speciality in this chart? Why this chart is extraordinary in many ways. So let's see first of all why I think that Kanya Lagna is the right Lagna for Ramana Maharshi. Okay, let me start with first point. First point is Kanya. Kanya Lagna is like a Lagna of purity because it's a Kanya Rashi. Kanya Rashi is Kanya means is a sign of purity. So that Lagna also, that coming as a Lagna, has indication of purity. It doesn't mean that all Kanya Lagna people are completely pure. No, I'm not saying like that. But this is just one pointer, which is in favor of Kanya Lagna, because Ramana Maharshi was one of the rare purest soul, purest Mahatma who has taken incarnation. If we move further, see the 7th bhav. Now Ramana Maharshi had no desires, no carnal desires, you can say. Now for desires, you will see 7th bhava. Now 7th bhava, because you know that I think some of you are aware in astrological circle that Lagna 5th and 9th is the Dharma Trikona. 2nd, 6th and 10th is the Artha Trikona. 3rd, 7th and 11th is the Kama Trikona. And 4th, 8th and 12th is the Moksha Trikona. So if you check this out, 7th bhava is a seed of desire. That is why we also see the vivah, marriage, partner from 7th bhava. So 7th bhava has Shani. What is the Shani here? Shani is a lord of 5th and 6th. Now 6th is a peculiar house with reference to 7th house of desire, 7th bhava of desire. Because 6th is the 12th from 7th, it shows the loss of desire. Yeah, 12th bhava is the loss bhava of vyaya. So it's a vyaya of the 7th, that is vivah, desire, kam, jaya bhav. So Shani, who has the portfolio of loss of desire, is sitting in the seventh bhav, and seventh lord Guru is in the sixth bhav. So thus you have seventh and sixth lord exchange, parivartan. This indicates that the desire were destroyed, or you may say that this person had a very controlled or very much desire, very less desires. Okay, we are talking about saints and we are aware of this is a great saint, great sage, Rishi, so that we can always say that, okay, this shows between parivartan between sixth and seventh lord that this person was born without desires. Also, you see, seventh bhav, Shani is a cold graha, yeah, shushka. I mean, it shrinks. So that also shows that he had no carnal desires. Again, if we move forward, Vivah, he did not marry. He did not marry because seventh bhav was going to sixth and sixth bhav was sitting in seventh. That also shows that he did not marry. He did not want to marry and he did not marry. Here there is one more peculiar thing. Sixth lord, some people consider, including me, that sixth lord, 11 Kumbh Rashi has two lords, co-lords, Guru, Shani and Rahu. Now here Guru's position and Rahu Shani's position creates a peculiar thing. What is that peculiar thing? Guru has the exchange with Shani also, and it has exchange with Rahu also. If you take Rahu and Shani as co-lords of Kumbh Rashi, then Guru has a parivartan with Shani and Guru also has a parivartan with Rahu. So there is a fourth lord and sixth lord parivartan and sixth lord and seventh lord parivartan. So you see there is an influence there is a strong influence of Rahu and Shani on the seventh lord Guru, which is also the fourth lord, yes. But we are right now focusing on the seventh bhav. Thus, if seventh lord and seventh bhav is influenced by six lords, then we can also it is quite indicative of that this person did not get married. That is the outer manifestation, and the subtle manifestation is that he had no desires, because seventh is also desire. So this is a very strong point. First point, I said that Kanya Lagna is a Lagna of purity. Second point is this, which made me almost certain that Ramana Maharshi had Kanya Lagna and not the Tula Lagna. Let me tell you one more point. Let's shift this to Tula Lagna for time being. Consider this Tula as a Lagna. Now, if you consider Tula as a Lagna, then Mars comes in seventh bhav. Strong Mars of Mesh Rashi. Fiery sign. So fiery Mars in his own fiery sign. In seventh bhav of desire. Kam. Is a seed of Kama Trikona. Now, can you imagine that Mars placed in Mesh Rashi in seventh bhava, if the person is without desires, it's impossibility. Just to give you one, just to put the things in perspective, Hitler had Tula Lagna and Mars, Mesh Rashi Mars in seventh bhava. He was not only tremendously desireful, but also quite aggressive and despotic. Everybody knows about Hitler's background and what he did, so no need to go into that details. But just to put the things in perspective, seventh lord Mars. If Ramana Maharshi had this chart, Mars coming in seventh bhav in own Mesh Rashi, he would have been extremely aggressive and desireful, full of desires. Now just turn back again to the original thing. Yeah. Now see, now check the same Mars. Mars is in Mesh Rashi, own Bhavan in the 8th Bhava. Now what is 8th? We saw few minutes ago at the start of our video. 4th, 8th and 12th is a Moksha Trikona, where one can see about the desire to attain liberation, moksha, desire to do sadhana. So 4th is a seed, 4th is a Hridaya Bhavana. When Hridaya Bhavana is there, then person engages himself or herself in sadhana, that is 8th bhava, and then the result is basically the fructification happens in the 12th bhava of moksha. So this is a moksha trikona. So sadhana bhava of lord of sadhana Mars is in the 8th bhava in own Rashi, shows the capacity of sadhana, the tremendous engagement of this person in spiritual sadhana. And we know if you read Ramana Maharshi's story, you can understand the sadhana he had done in Patal Lingam, for example, Patal Lingam in Arunachaleshwara temple. So then Mars also in the 8th bhava makes a lot of strength. Here I must tell you, for some people, that even if there's a Tula Lagna and you can see that Mars is coming in the 7th bhava, but if you are taking Bhava Chalita and the Lagna Bindu as the middle of the bhava, then the Bhava Chalita shows Mars going into the 8th bhava. So this can also make sense, but then if you compare both the things, then definitely Kanya Lagna makes the better sense. All right. So this is one more thing on this chart, that why I am quite sure that this is Ramana Maharshi had Kanya Lagna. Now let us see about his fame. Yeah, somebody, I think I don't remember, but one of our friends on Twitter asked me, who has a good knowledge of Jyotish Shastra. He had asked me this question some time ago, maybe a year ago or something, year or a couple of years ago. He asked me, if you take Kanya Lagna, then how you can justify his fame, his international fame, national and international fame. So that's not very difficult, because you have moon, the Atmakaraka moon in 10th bhava, Vargottami and Vargottami. And moon is almost the full moon, because it's a Krishna Dvitiya moon. So it's almost full. So sun and moon influencing very strongly the 10th bhav can show worldwide fame. There is also one more thing here. If you see the Chandra Lagna, from Chandra Lagna, you have a great yoga of exchange between 9th Lord and 10th Lord, Guru and Shani. So that is also one of the important Raj Yoga in Ramana Maharshi's Chandra Lagna chart. Let me also take you through some events, if it makes sense with this Lagna. Let's see, I have recorded few events. 18th February 1992, His father passed away. Now 18 February 1992, if you check Dasha, Vimishottari Dasha, and you check 18 February 18 February 1892, sorry, here I made a mistake, 1892. So here 1892 was Ketu. Shani Mahadasha, Ketu Antardasha was running. Now, does this period show father's demise? Yes. Let me show you how. Shani was directly aspecting his son, which is representative of father, Karka of father. Shani was aspecting sun fully. Sun is already with Rahu. Shani has the aspect, 10th aspect on sun. And Ketu, the Antardasha Lord Ketu, also, because nodes are involved, so Ketu is also involved. So sun is afflicted by Rahu, Shani, and Ketu. Secondly, if you take the 9th bhav, which is taken as for the father, then the second of 9th bhav, so Maraka of father is the 10th bhav. So Ketu is placed, the Antardasha Lord Ketu is placed in the Marak bhav of the father, which is ninth bhava of Marak bhava of the 9th, that is father is 10th bhava. So here the Ketu is placed. And it is affecting the 8th bhav. So this has a, I mean, because the sun is afflicted and the second bhav, 9th bhav is also afflicted. So it can show that Shani Ketu there's a strong candidate of father's demise. Let us check it out if there is it makes sense with the transit during that time. Okay, so what was the time? It was February 18th, 1892. Yeah. So let's just take this transit to the Kanya Lagna. Kanya, just take Kanya as a reference. Then you can see what is happening here. You can see here Mars was in the Marak Sthana of the 9th bhav. So Mars is a Marak bhav lord in his own bhav, Marak bhav, and aspecting the 9th bhav. So 18 February 1892, his father passed away. Let me check the another one, which is Mother's Mahasamadhi, 19th May 1922 at 8 p.m. 19th May 1922. So it is in start of Ketu Mahadasha. 19th May 1992. So Ketu Mahadasha, Ketu Antardasha, and Shani Pratyantar. Let us just stick to Ketu Mahadasha and Antardasha. So Ketu can show mother's demise, of course, because we can see that Ketu is with moon. And they are not far away, just 5 degrees, within 5 degrees distance from each other. So Ketu is afflicting moon, being very close to it. Ketu, as soon as Ketu Mahadasha started, his mother left the body. So we are just focusing on the demise of mother and father, and if this chart makes sense. So Ketu is afflicting that. Ketu is also, because his node is afflicting the 4th bhav. Because looking at 4th bhav. So Ketu can show it. Let me see. What was the date? 19 May 1922. 19th May 22 at about 8. The 4th lord of Ramana Maharshi's chart, this is Guru, was with Shani and Rahu. So Guru is on 18 degree and Rahu is in 16 degrees. So very close, almost just within 2 degrees closeness of Guru and Rahu, which is a 4th lord. And 4th house has a Mars transiting. So 4th lord is afflicted in transit by Shani and Rahu. And 4th house was afflicted by the malefic for Kanya Lagna. Functional and natural malefic, that is Mars. And that was passing through the 4th bhava. So 4th lord and 4th bhava both were afflicted by the Pap Grahas, Rahu, Shani and Mangal. So this makes sense quite a lot. All right. So this is what it makes sense here. This is the yearly chart. This is a yearly chart of that. Tithi Pravesha chart. Tithi Pravesha chart is a year chart of a year of that particular Tithi birthday. So on that Tithi birthday of Ramana Maharshi was falling on 16 December 1921. So which can give a good idea of that year, provided the main Kundali and main Graha Dasha and the transit makes sense. So if you see here, just to verify, in that year, Tithi Pravesh chart, he had a Dhanu Lagna rising, and the fourth is a Meen Rashi, means fourth lord is a Guru. Fourth house is afflicted by the 12th lord Ketu, and fourth lord is afflicted again by Shani and Rahu. You see, so that shows that there is a danger to mother, physical danger to mother. And you see Shani within the Shani period of Tithi Ashtottari Dasha for that year, Shani period she left the body. If you see fourth Shani is a lord of 12th bhava from the fourth. If you check here, Guru is in 22nd degree, Rahu is exactly in 22nd degree. You imagine, the Guru was completely overtaken, eclipsed by Rahu to the degree 22nd. So as I said, Shani and Rahu are co-lords of the Kumbha Rashi. Kumbha Rashi is the 12th bhava of the fourth, means loss of mother. And they both, Shani and Rahu, are afflicting the fourth lord as well as the fourth bhava because they have direct aspect on fourth bhava. And Guru is exactly on the same degree of Rahu. So this shows that mother had a great danger in that year, and so mother also expired. So it completely corroborates with this fact. So we have now no doubt left that yes, that year Ramana Maharshi's mother expired. So this chart makes absolutely perfect sense. Let's come back to the chart now. Okay, let us see even father, Varsha Kundali of that year when the father expired. So father expired on 18 February 1992. So maybe 1992 could be the year. So let's say December 1991, 1891. So this will be falling on 16 December 1891. Father expired February 1892. So this is the yearly chart, which can show something about father. Here Guru is in Lagna, father's 9th bhav, and Rahu is in the 12th. So one of the lords of co-lords of ninth bhav, which is father's bhav, is in the 12th bhav, and the other Shani is in the 8th bhav. So this is the, I mean, both the co-lords are not well placed from the 9th bhav. And Guru is in Lagna, but Guru is a lord of 2nd bhava. So the Marak bhava of Kumbha Lagna. But yes, it doesn't show that much that very clear or very straightforward indication of father's demise in that year. Sun is the lord of 7th bhava, and Sun is also not that afflicted. Sun is in the Ketu's nakshatra. Yeah, Sun is in the Ketu's nakshatra, Ketu's Vimshottari nakshatra. Yeah, but it doesn't make that great a sense. Now let us move ahead. So the chart of spirituality. Now let us focus on the spirituality, the adhyatma. Forget about spiritual word, the adhyatma, the tremendous power, the wave, the Mahasagar of adhyatma. How this chart can show. It is very difficult in the sense that there are some yogas which can show a person's leaning towards adhyatma, towards moksha. So as I said earlier, the 4th, 8th and 12th is the bhava of moksha trikona. So here we have to check if 4th, 8th, 12th bhav has some bearing, some weightage here. And we can see that because 8th Lord Mars is in 8th bhav, 12th Lord Sun is in 4th bhava, so connecting the 12th bhava to this 4th bhava. And if you see Parivartana Yoga of 4th and 6th Lord, then there is a Parivartana Yoga, and Rahu can behave like Guru, and thus Guru and Sun Yoga can materialize here because of Rahu Guru's Parivartana Yoga. That apart, what is important with this is Moksha Trikona, which is making quite a lot of sense. But if you see Moon, Chandra is a mind, that is with Ketu. When Moon is with Ketu and quite close, 5 degrees close, that influence, Ketu's influence on Moon can turn mind towards moksha, desire of moksha. It depends upon the overall chart. It should support that. Otherwise, it can also make a person terrorist or completely detached, cut off. So because Ketu cuts, Ketu detaches. Why Ketu is the highest graha of Adhyatma, even more than Shani, because Ketu cuts off. And what is moksha? Moksha is cutting off of all the desires. So Moon is a mind, and when Moon is with Ketu, the person invariably has that attitude of detachment. Here the Moon with Ketu, Moon is Atma Karaka. So Atma Karaka, the king of a chart, is with Ketu, shows that this person is oriented towards moksha, towards adhyatma. In this particular case, I also want to point out one thing which I have myself derived. Why I'm saying myself is because I don't say that, I don't mean that other people would not have thought about it, but I had this independent thought because I have never read this in anywhere. When there is the 7th bhav is a marak bhav. Now what we call it as the highest pinnacle of spirituality, adhyatma or moksha, is that the killing of mind. The mind has to die to reach the highest point, liberation, self-realization. What is self-realization? When the mind is killed, the ego mind is killed. Now, mind is represented by Moon. So 7th bhav from Moon becomes very important here. In Ramana Maharshi's case, 7th bhav from Moon is lauded. It is placed with Rahu and Surya. And 7th bhav is aspected by Shani. So Shani and Rahu and Surya, all these 3 grahas which are of the nature of, cruel, malefic. They are very severe, and they are very severe in particular to move towards moon, his mind. That is why Shani and mind. When Shani is with moon, person has a depression, and with his depression also it has a tendency to be aloof, alone, and going towards detachment. Shani gives detachment because it is opposing the moon. Mind likes to attach one thought after the other thought after the other thought, after this, after that. It doesn't like to be steady. It always wants something to hold on. So mind moves. It cannot remain steady. It doesn't like to be remain steady. And Saturn is completely opposite. Moon is very fast, covers the Rashi in 2.5 days. Shani is very extremely slow. It's the slowest, which takes 2.5 years. So when moon is controlled by Shani, it suffocates moon. It frustrates moon because Shani doesn't allow moon its usual speed. Okay, this is in fact just wanted to give you some perspective here. So moon, Shani is that way, very opposite to moon. So when Shani is aspecting seventh bhav from moon, which is Marak bhav of moon, which is Marak bhav of mind, where Rahu is already placed. Rahu is enemy of moon. So when both Shani and Rahu are formidable enemies of mind, are conspiring in the killer bhava of moon, means it can kill the ego mind. And sun is also aiding them. And here sun is the 12th lord, which has the portfolio of moksha. So now these three grahas are united in killing the mind, the moon. So this shows a tremendous adhyatma bhav, tremendous potential of reaching the pinnacle, that is Brahma realization, Atma Sakshatkar, whatever you name it. Basically, the killing of ego mind. This shows very beautifully here. Let's see what was the dasha when that death, the very famous death experienced, where Ramana Maharshi realized Atma Sakshatkar, realized Atma, the self. So when it happened as there is a proven records, it happened around, they say, mid of July in 1896. Now mid of July is taken from David Godman's I think article or book. Yeah, it is article. So where the date is given 15 July, I think that this could have happened on 16th July, but that doesn't matter. Why I'm saying 16 July and where it could be also 15 July or 17 July, that is possible, but I just arrived at 16 July because of one reason, but that's fine. It doesn't matter much. Let us see in July mid what was 1996, what was the Dasharani. So 1896 July mid was Shani Mahadasha, Sun Antardasha, Surya Antardasha. What is Surya? Surya is 12th Lord, placed in the fourth bhava, and it is also in the seventh of the moon. And I told you that now these two grahas triggered the self-realization. Now this Shani and Surya. Surya is the 12th lord. Shani is 5th and 6th lord. Now Shani and Surya are afflicting the 7th bhava from the moon. 7th is the Marak bhava of the moon. So it killed the mind, ego mind. They can jointly kill the ego mind. Now, was there in transit some speciality here? Was Shani in transit showing something? So what was that? 1886. Sorry, 1896. 1896. Here Shani Mahadasha, Surya Antardasha. Surya is the 12th lord. Let's see in the same time. This was in Madurai. Okay, that doesn't make any difference to us. Just we want to see the broad transit. July, say 16, 17, whatever time, 1896, around noon time. Okay, the dasha and everything doesn't matter. Let us see here. Yes. What we can see is, let's take Kanya Lagna. Ketu was in transiting from the 12th. That's very good sign, because Ketu is the Moksha Karaka, was transiting through 12th bhav. The 8th lord of the chart, Mars, was also in the 8th bhav. But the important thing is Shani, Saturn was exalted. The Mahadasha lord was exalted, and the 9th and the 4th lord was exalted as well. Guru was exalted as well in Cancer, Karka. Shani was exalted in Libra. Is there anything else on this case? Let's see, because Shani is degree wise very, almost in Trikona to Surya. So maybe Shani was just became direct. Let's see latitude. And Shani was 0.001 longitude speed. It means that Shani had just become direct from the retrograde. That's a very powerful point. So let's see, for example, if we go one day ago, 15th. Yeah, see, Shani is retrograde. So 15th was Shani retrograde, and 16th it became direct. So it was it was almost steady, perfectly steady. When this self-realization experience happened, that is why I take 16th of July, 1896. It could be 15th also, so we cannot be very sure of 15th or 16th, but it is fine. So 15, 16, 17 where the time when the exalted Shani just became direct. So it was perfectly steady in that sense. So this is and it was aspected by the Mars from Mesh Rashi, which is the 8th bhav, 8th lord of the Kanya Lagna, original Kanya Lagna of Ramana Maharshi. Ketu was transiting 12th. The 4th lord, Hriday Bhavana, Guru was exalted. So this was a perfect setup. So it does make sense, this date. Yes, we are talking all these things with the known events, but remember that it is indispensable for a Jyotish aspirant, Vidyarthi, or even the Pandits, that one always checks the chart of known events and checks how this event happened, because that only gives you more and more experience, and your skills of Jyotish will be sharpened. So this is indispensable. You must see the known charts and try to make sense and learn and gain the experience. This valuable experience can be given by these charts. So Shani and Surya gave the experience of Atma Sakshatkar. Now from then, when he got this experience within few months, he left Madurai and his home forever, to never to return. And he went to Arunachal, Tiruvannamalai, and then he never left Tiruvannamalai after that, until his physical demise. So does this shows Shani and Surya, Shani Mahadasha, Surya Antardasha shows leaving of home or leaving of one's residence forever? Here one more thing also, before we go into that. Surya was in 12th bhav, own Rashi. Surya was in Simha Rashi in 12th bhav in Navamansha chart. If we take Kanya as the Navamansha, Vargottama Lagna, and Shani is coming in the 4th bhav. So again, they are reflecting the Moksha Trikona in even in the Navamansha chart, where Surya becomes again the 12th lord, placed in 12th in Navamansha. So becoming very strong. So this makes sense that Surya Antardasha within Shani Mahadasha, when the transit was so fabulous, that this event, the enormous, life-changing event, not only his life-changing, but even he, because of his Sakshatkar, there were so many other souls, other jivas, turned towards moksha and got moksha. For example, his mother, his own mother, whom he released from Sansar Chakra. If you see the Chatur D4, Chaturamsha, Shani is in the 4th bhav as a 8th lord and aspecting Surya, which is also the 12th bhava of the 4th. So loss of the home is in Lagna, and Shani is aspecting Surya. So this makes sense, but okay, that is too much going into the details. No need. I was just showing you whether this makes sense that he left home. Also here, no need to go into D4 also. Just check the main Rashi chart. Main Rashi chart. You see, the 12th lord of losses, is in the 4th bhava, aspected by the 6th lord Shani, also 5th lord, but 6th lord Shani aspecting the 4th bhava, where Sun is placed, who is the 12th lord. So he left the home forever in this period. So not only the self-realization happened, he also left the home forever and made Arunachal as his new home, Tiruvannamalai as a new home forever. In this, Shani Mahadasha was full of, and in this case, when there was a mind got killed, so actually speaking, from that death experience happened in barely when he was 16, 17 years old in 1896. He realized self. He got a full-fledged, full experience of self. And from then on, he just remained completely absorbed in self. There is interesting, there was another incident where he had another experience like this, death experience, second experience of physical death. That was also, I had checked it, if interested people can see, that was also somewhere in the Mercury and Sun Antardasha period. I think it was again the Sun Antardasha was coming in that experience of second death experience. Let's see his physical demise. His own physical demise, I would say. Okay, he had. It is futile to say about karma and this thing once he realized, but okay, the body has the Rinanubandh, the karma. It exhausts itself. Though Ramana Maharshi's mind was killed, and he may not have any body experience, but then the perceivers, the others would see him in a form. And that form finally perished in on 14th of April 1958, 47. So you checked, it is a Surya and Rahu. Surya Mahadasha, Mahadasha of the 12th Lord, and Rahu Antardasha. Rahu is the 6th Lord. And they both are placed in second from the Lagna Lord. And they both have the influence of Shani placed in the 7th bhav. So his body finally left in Sun Rahu, Sun Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha. If you check the transit, then that is very interesting. April 14th, 1950 at Tiruvannamalai. Because the time was exactly recorded, so that helps us a lot. I have discussed this chart, this demise chart, in with some people call it also Punya Chakra. So the chart of demise. See, we are sometimes not sure of people, especially the people related to Adhyatma, where we do not know sometimes the chart of their exact birth time. But sometimes the death chart is very accurate because we know, and when the person is a very famous person, then people would exactly note down the timing. Here the timing was precisely noted, and there is a also a story where when he left his body, there was a big shooting star coming from over Arunachal and disappearing behind the top of Arunachal. It was unusually big shooting star, and many people witnessed it. So that timing was perfectly noted, and I have discussed this particular thing, this particular chart in my blog, because this also shows the importance of Navamansha. See the Navamansha chart of this demise on that very moment. How many grahas are in strength in Navamansha? Forget about the Lagna chart. Lagna chart also you can see, for example, I mean, there was a Tula Lagna. Tula Lagna was rising. Tula is the second bhava of Kanya Lagna, which is Ramana Maharshi's Lagna, as we saw. This is Kanya Lagna chart, and Tula is a Marak bhava, which was rising here. The Mars and Ketu were in the 12th, and Sun was exalted. Okay, forget about that. This is not important Rashi chart. Check the Navamansha chart. Moon is in own bhav, own Rashi, Karka, in 12th. Forget about 12th and bhava. Just see the Rashi strength. Moon is in Karka Rashi. Mercury is exalted in Kanya Rashi. Shani is exalted in Tula Rashi. Guru is in own Rashi Dhanu. Mars is exalted in Makar. Surya is exalted in Mesha. And Venus has a Parivartan Yoga with exalted Shani. So out of 7 physical grahas, all the 7 physical grahas were in great strength. That this is the rarest of rare case. You will be agreeing with me here. That such Navmansha is very rarely found. So this one alone, this thing shows that the person who left the body must be a very exalted high levels Mahatma, a Rishi. Because if you leave Chaya Graha out, all the 7 grahas are in strength in Navmanshi. Either they are in own Rashi or they are in exalted Rashi. There was one more point which I left, I did not discuss, is that he was silent most of the times. Many years he remained silent, though that it doesn't mean that he had no vow of remaining silent, but he just did not feel like talking. So it took many years for him to start speaking and then start giving knowledge to people from his Vaikhari speech. But that too, even then, he was very limited in talking. That can also be attributed to the direct full aspect of Mars, which is 8th Lord. And 8th Lord is aspecting the 2nd bhav. And also the 2nd Lord, because if you take this, then the 8th drashti is falling on the Lagna as well, Lagna Lord Mercury, as well as the 2nd Lord Venus, Shukra. So this also shows that he remained silent. He did not like to talk much. He gave his teaching mostly in silence. So this is the assessment of Ramana Maharshi's chart. Okay, there may be many things I would have left because of the otherwise the video, this recording would become too long, but I think still I have covered a lot of things here. His fame I have already discussed. His fame can be easily attributed to the full moon, almost full moon in 10th bhava being Atmakaraka and Vargottam. So it's not only Bhav Vargottam, Rashi Vargottam, it is also Bhav Vargottam. And it is aspected by, even Guru is Vargottam. So this moon is aspected by Guru, who is also Vargottam. And Bhav Vargottam. Not only Rashi Vargottam, Bhav Vargottam. And this Guru looks at the 10th bhava, and 10th bhava placed moon, who is also very strong. So this can give one of, I mean, a big fame which can cross boundaries of country and nations. He had international fame. So that can be attributed to this moon and Guru, mainly moon and Guru. And also Saturn's aspect on the Lagna. Saturn is a Digbal, having Digbal in the 7th bhav. And then there is a Parivartan Yoga of Guru and Shani, and Guru and Shani is the Parivartan Yoga is very powerful in terms of fame and dharma, because it is It is 9th and 10th Lord Parivartan from the Moon Lagna. Moon is Atmakaraka here, so it becomes a very crucial graha. And if you see, because as Kumbha Rashi has 2 lords Shani and Rahu, Vrishchik Rashi has 2 lords Mars and Ketu. So if you see here, there is a parivartan between Mercury and Ketu also. Mercury is in Ketu's bhava and Ketu is in Mercury's bhava. So there is a flurry of parivartan yoga, which is connected to the 10th bhava. So this can be attributed to his international fame, and fame long lasting even after his physical demise. With this, I complete this session. Om Namo Bhagavate Arunachalaramanaaya. Om Namah Shivaya.